Welcome to Sorenid, the Society for the Reconciliation of Distressed Nigerians in Diaspora. Sorenid is one of the anti-human trafficking and irregular migration non-governmental organizations, working towards the eradication of the root causes of human trafficking and irregular migration in Nigeria. With a vision to see a peaceful society where every youth can gainfully contribute to his or her community and society at large. And a mission to ensure the full realization of the potentials of the vulnerable victims and returnees through skills training, economic empowerment, and to intensify advocacy for their rights and privileges. The Sorenid shelter has 20 self-contained rooms accommodation with 80 bed spaces. About Sorenid as captured by the China television network.
Now to human trafficking, and Nigeria is one of the worst affected countries in Africa. This includes cross-border and internal trafficking. There's now a campaign in the country to rehabilitate the victims. Philihaza tells us more on the story.
33-year-old Oliver Unwodo is a victim of human trafficking. In search of a better life abroad as a teenager, he left Abuja 15 years ago. But he was deceived by a travel agent. After almost a year traveling by road through the Sahara Desert, he only made it halfway to his destination of Italy before returning home.
I embarked on this quest to get to Europe. But on getting to Libya by road, I found out that the journey wasn't what I bargained for. Most of my friends lost their lives. Some were buried there in the desert. But miraculously, somehow, I was able to return home. And here I am, and I encountered this NGO. And I was able to learn through this NGO. I was able to be a graphic artist. And today, I thank God for my life.
The NGO, Society for the Reconciliation of Nigerians in the Diaspora, runs this center where many other returnees who are also victims of human trafficking get support to recover from their trauma. They are taught professional skills like bead making, catering, and tailoring as a way to empower and reintegrate them into the society. The founder, a retired Nigerian senior diplomat, says his experience while serving abroad for 3 decades birthed this dream.
A lot of Nigerians are being repatriated from all over the world. And when they come back to Nigeria, they are not given a soft landing. Many of them are just rushed back to the villages where they come from, and they find their way back to the countries where they come from. And so I decided, from my experience, to rally around this organization called Sorenid. We teach them skills, very basic skills, so they can start their lives without necessarily going back to where they come from.
According to the International Organization of Migration, about 11,000 Nigerians, mainly women, are trafficked outside of the country yearly for prostitution and slavery. Nigeria's anti-trafficking body, the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, insists it's doing everything it can.
One thing that we've done was to make sure that anti-trafficking issues are incorporated into the curriculum for primary and post-primary schools in Nigeria, to make sure that it's deepened, it's sustained, and those things are learned. It becomes a learned behavior for young persons not to imagine that the street of Europe is paved with gold.
In addition, NAPTIP says it has convicted 365 human traffickers since its inception in 2003, with many others currently under prosecution. Although the government is making effort to tackle human trafficking in the country, analysts say more needs to be done to improve some of the major factors that increase vulnerability to trafficking, things like insecurity, poverty, unemployment, and corruption. Phil Ihaza, CGTN, Abuja, Nigeria.
In all my assignments outside the country, I interacted with Nigerians abroad, and I found out some of their problems, and then I decided to, on retirement, see how I could pay back to the society by helping to solve those problems. One of the problems we identified was a lot of Nigerians really have no reason to stay abroad because they have finished their terms and they are really distressed and they need to be brought home. So then, as doing very well, many of them are doing very well, many of them still need to be encouraged. But the way Nigeria is growing, we think that many of them should come back, get organized before going back. And so, when we came back here, we founded this society called Society for the Reconciliation of Nigerians in Diaspora, Sorenid. Here we train Nigerians. We work with four, the acronym we call items that we identify characters, we identify Nigerians with talents, and we train them, we empower them, and we monitor their progress so that even if they have to go abroad, they'll be useful to themselves. Here we teach them skills ranging from how to barb, how to sew clothes, how to sew shoes, how to any kind of skill that is basic, so that when they are abroad, when they find themselves outside the country, they should be able to have something to do. Even for Nigerians who have been brought back, unfortunately, some of them are coming back either from Libya or from South Africa or from other parts of the world. There's nothing wrong. We want them to come back safely and then dignified and pick up some skills. Nigeria is developing very fast, and we can all join hands together to develop the country. One of them can also acquire skills. That's why the NGO is asking for assistance and asking for partnerships, asking for people who can collaborate with us to give out this book which we have done, which we have produced. So one of the issues we identified outside the country was that many Nigerians traveled out irregularly, what I would call irregular, but illegally. And because of it, they don't have problems being deported, being brought back from what we are seeing in Libya and South Africa. So many of these Nigerians travel without documents and they have problems staying there and they're being brought back. That was why we put up this book titled Eradicating the Root Causes of Illegal Migration and Human Trafficking in Nigeria. Essentially, this book, the purpose of writing this book is to advise Nigerian youths to travel the right way. It's not supposed to be sold, but we're asking, it's supposed to be given freely to all youths and victims so that they can get themselves educated on this issue of illegal migration and human trafficking. That's why we call on partners and collaborators to help in distributing this book to over 17 million Nigerians who are outside the country, and over 500,000 Nigerians who graduate from universities and who are subject to being trafficked out, as well as 20 million youths who are not working. So these are our targets. We cannot get this book across to all of them, and we're hoping that some good public-spirited people or some ministries or agencies can help in getting these books across to them. In this book, you will find how you can travel right, how you can acquire your visas, how you can travel without passing through Libya and going to Europe on foot, how you can acquire skills. And you also get in touch on how these illegal traffickers, how they acquire their people, how they trick people outside the country. And so by going through this book, you advise yourself. And then you will find also opportunities that are open to Nigerians for investment, those of them who are abroad, where they can invest profitably and how they can put in their money and be part of development in this country.
Sorenid calls for more collaborations to rehabilitate and reintegrate persons of trafficking back into society as they commemorate World Day Against Trafficking in Persons.
As countries across the globe commemorate World Day Against Trafficking in Persons, experts in Nigeria are calling for more collaboration to rehabilitate and reintegrate victims of trafficking back into society. That's because the United Nations says Nigeria is one of the leading African countries in human trafficking, most of them women and children. Our correspondent Phil Ihaza reports from Abuja.
Patricia Cletus, not her real name, was trafficked out of Nigeria in 2003. She managed to escape and return home. Since then, Patricia says she has been improving her life and even canvassing for other returnees to settle in easily.
I started learning how to sew. After learning how to sew, I now learn how to barb. So now I can barb and I can sew. So I just want to advise those ladies out there that if you are one of the victims like me, your hope is not lost. You can learn, you can also be like me.
At this center run by an NGO, the Society for the Reconciliation of Distressed Nigerians in Diaspora, people like Patricia are taught new skills, empowered and encouraged to start life afresh. The total number of human trafficking victims is largely unknown, but the United Nations estimates that about 1 million persons are trafficked annually in Nigeria. Less than 5% are trafficked outside the country, the rest are trafficked within. It is the third most common crime in Nigeria after drug trafficking and economic fraud, and experts say the root causes are enormous.
It's this issue of poverty. I must mention greed among personnel and then lack of patriotism. Because we tend to equate ourselves with what other persons are doing. And there's of course the social problem, unemployment, lack of proper education. The kind of education we have here, the type that after that is go and start looking for a job instead of employing people. And then the wars, here and there people are being displaced, thereby giving opportunity to human traffickers to go and pinch, take the people away for trading.
Nigeria's anti-trafficking body, the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, says it has rescued over 15,000 victims of human trafficking and rehabilitated about half that number.
In order to see more returnees reintegrated and contribute more to the society and the economy, experts here say more of these initiatives will need to take place across the country. They say in the long run, it could help stop or reduce the burden of trafficking to the barest minimum.
And it's a challenge that requires more collaboration and partnerships.
I think the agencies in Nigeria should also relate well with the NGOs so that we can all fight this together. Human trafficking is a global issue and it should not be left to one individual or even to one government. It's an international thing, and the cross-border crimes is not what one country can hold. So we need that global collaboration.
It's something the government says it's working on. NAPTIP has pledged to deepen partnership with the UN Office on Drugs and Crimes, the International Organization for Migration, and the country's security agencies to fight trafficking and rehabilitate trafficked persons like Patricia across the country.
Recent happenings in Sorenid, official visit of the Acting Secretary, Social Development Secretariat SDS, Federal Capital Territory Administration, FCTA, Abuja, with his entourage to the Sorenid shelter. Official visit by National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, to the Sorenid shelter. Guide to Skill Acquisition Seminar for Women, held at Sorenid Multipurpose Hall. Meeting of Sorenid with the Permanent Secretary to the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, Dr. Mrs. Antonia Akpabio Ekfa. Officials of International Office of Migration, IOM, and Sorenid staff, during their visit to the facility. Group photograph of trainers and trainee during the Start a Business Without Money seminar. Advocacy program at the ESU Palace, Jikwoyi, Abuja. Showcase of our existing facilities. ICT Center. 15-seater shuttle bus, 100-seat multi-purpose hall, massage therapy room, training and relaxation arena, fashion, stitches and beads learning center, manicure pedicure room, gym training center, unisex salon, music and catering departments. Upcoming events in Sorenid curriculum. Sorenid is introducing the study of some foreign languages such as Chinese, German and French. At Sorenid, we believe that the introduction and teaching of the subject matter of human trafficking into the curricular of primary and secondary schools civic education, as well as the teaching of the basic knowledge of traveling the right way, will deny the traffickers the opportunity to deceive, disinform and exploit their target victims. In addition, Sorenid believes that possession of the rudimentary knowledge of the foreign languages will afford travelers and victims the opportunity to navigate the murky global immigration waters.